Next up is Kim from Your Social Voice. He's an expert at lead gen on Facebook, and in this talk, he's gonna walk you through formulating your lead gen budget, his winning method for verifying that you're ready to scale a campaign, and 5 Facebook lead gen funnels that you can swipe for your company. Kim, the stage is yours.
Welcome AdWell crew to how to generate leads like a mogul with Facebook ads. I am Kim Barrett and I am here today. So if you're wondering, who is this Kim character? What's he all about? What's he going to be sharing with us? Well, a little bit of a brief intro on myself. I am the CEO and founder of Your Social Voice. We are an advertising agency based over in Perth, Australia. So I'm very excited to be coming to you guys all over the world. Now, we train businesses, we train media buyers on how to effectively manage and buy ads on Facebook. And we specifically focus on lead generation. So no e-commerce, none of that sort of stuff. We specifically focus on lead generation. We really like to help service-based businesses, experts, knowledge brokers who are really looking to scale what it is that they're doing online. They're generally the people that we want to work with and we want to work with most. So we have a team of about 15 people as well across Australia, overseas as well. And I'm the host of the top podcast, The Kim Barrett Show. I'm actually in my studio right now. Now, most importantly, and there's a reason why this is highlighted in yellow, is that we help our clients generate on average a 17 times ROAS. Now, if you're someone that goes, what does that mean? What does that even stand for? Return on ad spend. That's where every dollar that they put into Facebook, we actually ensure and help them to make sure that they get in excess of 15 to 17, sometimes 20, 30, 40, 50 times return on their ad spend, which is especially important today because I'm going to be covering off on that with you guys in just a minute. We've been featured in top publications around the world like Entrepreneur, Forbes, Business Insider, Success Magazine, all that fun stuff. And as well, I am actually a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt, Australian champion. So, if you see me at events, don't mess with me, guys. That's what I'm saying that for. Just a little bit of fun, something I do to help me, keep focused, to help keep my mind right. Because when you're jumping into ads, sometimes it can be complicated, sometimes it can be overwhelming. But my goal for our session today is to ensure that you have some fundamentals that you can take away, that you can use to really have success when it comes to your ads. I'm not here to give you some complex, overcomplicated system and process. I'm going to teach you some amazing fundamentals that you can take away and implement straight away and get results in your business. So if you're on board with that, then I hope you stick with me. So now, what are we going to be covering? I want to talk about how to formulate a lead generation ad budget. Because a lot of people, the first thing that they ask when they go to work with an agency or they go to start up their own ad campaigns, how much should I spend? Should I spend $1? Should I spend $100? Should I spend $10,000? It can be very complex and complicated. And I am aiming, and my goal is to turn that on its head, to flip that upside down, make it easy for you guys to be able to calculate how much it is that you want to spend on your ads and how much you are going to spend to be able to generate the leads that you want to generate for your business. Because I could give you the answer of how long is a piece of string or say an arbitrary figure, but I'd rather help you guys be able to understand your marketing and the mathematics around your marketing so that you can go and do that. Then we'll go through the verification method, which is again something that I see a lot of people do and kind of skip over, is they want to build all these complex, complicated funnels. They want to go really, really far ahead and push, which I'm on board with, I believe in, and I support people with. However, you've got to do it the right way. You've got to do it really, really effectively. And that's, again, what I want to share with you is how to verify your message first before you go into amplification, before you go in trying to overcomplicate anything too much. Let's keep it nice and tight and have a really good process. And I'm going to share 5 different Facebook lead generation funnels that I know work very well, that we use for ourselves and we use for a range of our clients as well. So let's jump into it. Now, first, as I mentioned, I'm going to cover off on how to formulate your lead gen budget. This is the first question that you should be asking yourself before you jump into doing any sort of campaign marketing, before you should be looking at anything, right? Is you want to formulate what your budget is going to be and how do you actually test, measure, and hold yourself accountable to that budget. It's not a game of getting the cheapest leads, because a lot of people will see a strategy, see a training, see a video where they talk about, I was able to generate leads for $1, 50 cents, 10 cents. That's cool, but the goal is not to generate the cheapest leads. The goal that I really want you guys to have for yourself is, how do I put myself in a position where I can spend the most to acquire a lead, do the most to acquire a customer, not just going out there chasing the cheapest thing, because we want to be able to beat our competition and make them irrelevant. The only way to do that is to really formulate and calculate how we do this and actually have a number and a set process that we follow to be able to generate that. So the question I'll pose to you is, are you a beginner or a baller? I like to use my own phraseology around moguls and ballers and things like that. Now, the beginner doesn't take into consideration the back end. The beginner just looks at what's going on in the front and doesn't make long-term decisions. A baller, well, they understand terms like average lifetime customer value, back-end sales, scale, and more, right? And these might be words that you already know, in which case, that's awesome. Being that you are here, you're joining us, right? I'm pretty sure that means that you're a baller, So that's something that you're going to take into consideration the mathematics that I'm about to share and explain. And again, I highly encourage you to, if you're taking notes, keep along with this. Do it for you. Put your own mathematics into this equation, and let's see what comes out on the other side. So again, if this is, I'm going to try and speak slowly on this, explain these numbers clearly, so that you really get a good understanding of why I'm using them and what I'm specifically talking about. If any maths don't add up, I'm sure they do. I use a calculator, but if they don't hold me to it. I'm sure by the end of this little section, you understand exactly what I'm talking about, and you understand how to calculate this for yourselves. So let's start off and say that we have a product for this. I just put together an online course, right? This is what I'm saying for this example, an online course at $500 that I'm selling it for. So this could be any sort of product or value. This could be a recurring commission. This could be a commission on selling a house. This could be your own product or service, whatever that might be. Let's use this math. So as I said, plug in your own numbers here as we go along. So course one, $500, right? $500 is the value that we're going to be receiving when we make a sale. Cost, $20 per lead. That's what we're willing to spend. That's what we're saying we're going to be willing to spend to acquire a lead. And we will convert 1 in 10 of those. So if I get 10 leads, I'll make 1 sale. I'll spend $200 on my ads to make a sale, which means that my ad budget is $1,000, right? And I'll make 5 sales, right? 5 sales times $200 equals that $1,000 in ad spend. And my revenue, my profit, my money that I bring in is $1,500. I spent $1,000, I profited or had revenue of $1,500, total revenue of $2,500, right? Because it's 5 sales times 5, 5 fives are 25, that's $2,500 that we had in total sales. Pretty simple. And most people, when they're looking at this, their maths and what they calculate is that, okay, for every dollar I put into Facebook ads, I made $2.50, right? I spent $1, so I spent $1,000, I made $2,500. 2.5 times return on their ad spend, which is good. But then they're also going to be like, yeah, man, I'm positive on my front end. This is doing amazing. The maths is great. Awesome. Now, as I said, I'm not poo-pooing anything here. I'm just giving you guys some mathematical examples so that when we get to the end of this, you can choose which approach you want to have, and you'll be able to calculate your budget for yourself based on a few other factors, which I'll cover off on. Now, the math for the ballers, right? Course one, same thing, $500. For all intents and purposes, prices here remain the same. However, they're willing to spend $50 to acquire a lead, still converting that 1 in 10. So that means it takes $500 to make a sale. 1 sale equals the same price in ad spend, right? 500, 500. No front end money being made. A lot of people, if they saw an ad campaign like this, they would kill it. Like, I'm making no money on my front end, right? They might spend $5,000 over the entirety of a month and get 10 sales. Whereas the person before made 5 sales and they're happy as Larry. Now, this is where the key will come into this as we get onto this, is that to get those numbers, you can't hit scale. Because as soon as you hit scale, yes, costs will increase. Everyone thinks that the ad price stays the same, the cost per lead stays the same. As you start to scale, a lot of times your budget will start to blow out a little bit. it'll start to go up. And it's like, well, I was getting leads for $20. Why am I now paying $50 per lead? It can be overly frustrating, overly complex. And everyone goes, Facebook ads don't work. It's like, well, they do, if we know all of our numbers, like I mentioned earlier. And that's what we're really focusing on here, is going, okay, great. Yes, we made 0 front-end revenue, but what did we acquire? We acquired 10 sales. So we have 10 buyers, whereas the beginner versus us being the ballers, the beginner has 5, we have 10. So now we are in a much, much, much better position starting off, right? So now, let's take into account our beautiful nomenclature we mentioned earlier, lifetime value. Let's say that the lifetime value, or even it might be the 1 month value for you, or the 2 month, or the 6 month, but I'm just using lifetime value here as an example, is $1,000 per client. That means that we have 5 clients, we've got $5,000 now because we have our additional products and programs that we would sell, that we ascend them into over time. $6,500 in revenue, have $1,500 from our front end, and then we have an additional $5,000 from the back end because we are so good and our clients ascend and they're worth that to us over time. And again, if you don't have that number, by all means go calculate it after, of course, all these amazing sessions. Don't go run away right now, but go calculate that and come back and plug your numbers into that and figure that out. Now, if we look at the baller, they spent all their money on the front end. They had no revenue. However, because they were willing to spend more, they acquired more buyers. They acquired 10 people, right? They acquired 10 sales, made no money on their first product or service. And now we kick in their lifetime value, which is $1,000. Their revenue that they've generated is $10,000. This is why these numbers are so important when it comes to play, when it comes to calculating what your ad spend should be, what your ad spend budget should be for lead generation, because we're not just looking at pure e-commerce. We're not just looking at someone going and adding to cart and purchasing. We're looking at what the lifetime of that customer is. Look, the same thing applies in e-commerce anyway. However, when we're talking about lead generation, we really want to hone in, we really want to focus on what is going to get us the best long-term result. And as it depends, of course, I am not an accountant, I'm not a financial advisor. However, using this math will allow you to understand what you can spend up to. I'm not saying you go and spend all this money like crazy. Kim said, don't make any money on my first product and go and do that. What I'm saying is understand this so that you can figure out how to outspend your competition. That's what makes them irrelevant. That's what happens then. As soon as you're doing that, you can go and add on additional channels. You can go and add on more platforms that you can advertise on to generate leads. You can pay your referral partners more than anyone else because you know the maths. That's, all you're doing is when you're growing and scaling your business is becoming a mathematician. You're getting really good at arithmetic and multiplication. And that's what we want to see, because if you see here, the actual increase is 69.2%. 69.2% more revenue in total than the beginner because we're able to understand exactly what it is that we need to do when it comes to our ads, right? This is where the power lies. That's where it's like, okay, now we can see how we can actually do much, much better, scale much, much faster and more aggressively. If our ad blows out to $50, we don't mind. It's within our range. But the other person, the beginner, who gets the $22 lead turns, that's too much for me, because I haven't done the maths. And that's why I wanted to start with this and help you guys understand that when it comes to lead generation, this is what you need to calculate, this is what you need to think about, this is what you need to do in your approach when it comes to first setting up your ads. All right, don't worry, we're gonna get to some more juicy stuff, but I wanted to make sure that you guys understand this in totality, in full, because it is so important, right? Because it is such a core factor. And it's the question I always get asked first, Kim, how much should I spend on my ads? Stroke their beards or non-beards, whatever they have. This is the answer to that question, is do the math, right? Now, we've done our maths. Now what we need to do is verification, the verification method. Now, this is not a blue tick verification on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. This is a method that you need to apply before trying to scale. The worst thing The absolute worst thing that I see people do is they come and they spend all this time building an amazing funnel, especially in lead gen, right? Building an amazing funnel. They said they've got all this amazing stuff. They have their course fully mapped out, their product or service fully mapped out, how the commissions they're going to make on selling real estate, whatever it might be for them. They've got it all. However, they haven't actually verified anything yet. Right? They go, I've got this amazing ad structure. I saw all these amazing content. I know what to do with my ads, but they haven't verified it. This is exactly where people go wrong. This is the biggest problem that I see with most people, is that they go and try and throw something out which hasn't been verified yet. And especially in the world of lead generation advertising, because we have so many tools and simple tools at our disposal that we can actually use, that we can actually put out to the market, right? Without costing us an arm and a leg, without having to build all these complex funnels and ad structures. There is a time for that after this, but this is what we need to do first to ensure that we can get the best result possible. Now, the verification method in itself is really simple, and as I said, most people skip straight past this. They go to amplification. They go out there wanting to just absolutely dominate, which I get. I'm on board with. I'm with you. I'm right there with you, right, on this one. However, before a funnel is built, right, you need to test your offer. You need to test your hook, your lead, your message to market match, everything to ensure that you have the effective message and that the audience you have actually wants it. That is the most important thing. That is the core of what we do with marketing, is to make sure we actually test that before we go and do all these complex things. Only then should you be amplifying your campaign. Only then should you be amplifying your campaign. Not just setting up all these crazy structures to start. We need to verify it. We need to verify that it works first, then take it out there. And you probably go, okay, cool. Smarty Pants Kim, how do we go and do all these verifications? Good questions, all right? But we need to, first of all, keep it simple. I'm a huge advocate of keeping it simple, keeping it easy, keeping it light, right? And that's what we want to do. Now, we want to start with the fundamentals, then we can expand. Now, you've probably used this before, used some of these tools before, and it just works very, very effectively. Use Facebook lead generation ads. Now, there's a reason in the ad structures, when you set up a Facebook ad, lead ads are not put under conversion, right? There's 3 keys at the top, right? There's 3 key categories that every ad type sits in. Lead generation sits under consideration, not conversion. Now, if you're someone who is a lead gen company, you utilize lead gen companies, you may have played with lead gen ads before, Facebook lead gen ads, right? And everyone goes, the quality's not that good. Quality's poor, people don't answer the phone. People always have excuses when it comes to lead gen ads. Now, I always say it's because it's a consideration ad. It's pretty much perfectly built for testing, for market testing, for identifying what works, for identifying what doesn't work, to getting that validation before we go and roll everything out. And because it's so cheap and easy, we don't need a funnel. We don't need a full sales page. We don't need a super articulate advertorial that's going to push people through to our offer. We can verify what works first. And that's what's so important. That's what I love about lead generation ads, is they're so simple to do. You can test many different angles with your copy. For example, you want to test everything you need in your NOC, and I'll cover off on that in just a sec, before you go too crazy. So it means that you have so much more control, so many more variables are able to be tested before you have to go out and do anything crazy. Right? And this might sound simple, but if you're not doing it, this is just an absolute game changer for you to test all your angles when it comes to your lead gen ads. So you can test your niche, which is what the NOC is, another method that we have, the NOC method, right? Test your niche, or niche for my American friends. Test it out and see what audience responds best. Male, female, demographics, psychographics, targeting, lookalike audiences, all of those amazing different components that you can use with inside of Facebook Ads Manager. We can actually identify exactly what works, what converts. O, right? The O of the NOC method is your offer. We can identify what people respond to, what people like, what people engage with, right? Without having to build a whole funnel, without having to build all these complex and complicated components. We can call our program a different name. We can have our calls called a different name. We can have our offers, our advertorial hooks, whatever it is that we're promoting, we can test all of them before we have to build it. And obviously see our copy, we can test our headlines, we can test our hooks, we can test our body copy, we can test every component that we have before we have to go and build out a complete full funnel, a full landing page, a full website, a full advertorial, and see which gets the most engagement, see which captures the most leads. You can get name, email, and phone number if you want to go out there and test and have a play before you kick anything off and before you go speak to people on the phone, before you go too crazy with things. So this actually allows you, not only as I mentioned, to keep it simple, but it means that you can do multitudes of testing before you have to go and build out anything too crazy. And you might be like, Kim, okay, I get it. You've said it several times here. I just want you to really, really absorb that and use this. If you're doing lead generation and you're not using this verification process, I feel bad for you, son, all right? You need to be doing that. You need to be using that as your leverage before you go out and build all your complex and complicated components. Right, well, I'm going to talk about those next. I'm going to talk about the 5 recommended Facebook lead generation funnels. I'm just wanting to give you guys this because each of these components that I'm sharing with you here today stacks on top of each other. Once you've worked out and you've calculated your budget, then once you've actually verified the process, the method, the offer, your niche, the copy, you can then go out there and build it into something really robust. And I always like to not only teach things simply, but also make sure that people can take away and implement it. And I believe that you can go and take away and implement the calculations, the math that I gave you, pretty simply. You can go away, take away and calculate and implement the NOC method, the verification method. You can calculate what audiences you want to use. You can look at your offers, you can test your copy. All those things are possible for you, which I wish you all to do. That's my only goal from my session here and being able to speak to you all, is for you to go and implement and come back and be like, yeah, Kim was right. Bring him back next year. Put him up next to Seth Godin, whatever it might be, right? I just want to help you guys and help you guys achieve success when it comes to your lead generation. Now let's get into a few of the fun ones, the lead generation components. And I'm going to talk about each of these funnels and how you use them. And look, and I'll tell you the page types that you want to use. It's very, very simple, the funnels that I work with. I'm a simple person, but simple is not always easy, but simple does get results over overly complex. So there are 5 Facebook lead generation funnels that we normally rotate through for any of our clients. Spend tens and hundreds of $1,000s a month on Facebook ads and other ads, of course, as well. Now, these are used if you want to fill your calendar, if you want to get people through, if you want to capture those hot leads, that lead generation is a problem for you and you want to solve it. One of these 5 will be perfect for you. I'm going to kind of start at the top and work my way down. Now, I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't use any of these. However, please don't go and try and implement every single one of these into your business. Pick one that sounds most likely, most similar to what it is that you're looking for. And look, there are many more. These are just the top ones that we know work day in, day out. The first one you can all use. If you're doing lead generation, I'm assuming you're capturing leads for some sort of application, for a call, for some sort of process. Everyone can use that type. And then from the other 4, pick and choose. And look, over time, you may have every single one. In our business, I think we utilize between 4 and nearly all 5 of these at the moment for ourselves and for several of our clients. But not every client has them. Some only have 1 or 2 of these. So it's like a choose your own adventure. Pick which one you like. If you ever read Goosebumps when you were younger or read it to your kids maybe, I don't know. Choose your own adventure, but choose one, all right? And go and implement them after all the sessions that you take away these learnings. As you'll see, each of my components stack on top of each other. And I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys go and implement them. So once you've been able to verify, right, that your offer works, you've done your Facebook lead generation ads, you're following the process, you're following the system here, then we can move on to amplifying it with these 5 core Facebook lead gen funnels. Now, the first is the application, right? This is hot stuff. This is more importantly for those hotter audiences, utilizing that you want to retarget, bring people back to, focus on this is the most ideal offer for those types of people, the application funnel. Right, this is something that you could also tie into an email sequence if you already have an existing database and you really want to pull those leads out. That's what we want to be focusing on. So an application funnel is quite simple. It's literally on the first page, it's like, hey, you're applying to work with me. You capture their data and details on the first step. Second page is an application, right? Obviously, hence the term application funnel. There is an application process where they have to apply, answer some questions, why they want to work with you, all that sort of stuff, depending on what you're doing, whether if you're in the financial something, maybe you're capturing a little bit of their data and information around that. And then it will go to a booking calendar or to a thank you page where it tells them what the next steps are. Very simple, 3 pages. 1, this is an application and you're applying. 2, the application. 3, the final step, whether it be, if it goes to a calendar, obviously you'd have a 4th page as a thank you page after that, but you'd have between 3 and 4 steps there for people to be able to leverage your warm audiences, your hot audiences, I should say. Basically anyone that's engaged with you knows what it is that you do, is aware of your business, brand, and market. And this is the sort of funnel for them. It's not really effective for a colder audience. I'll touch on a version of this shortly that a colder audience would work for. But this is really the application funnel. As I said, most people, if you have warm audiences, could leverage this, or email databases, for example. They work very well. Very, very simple structure. As I said, again, you've got to make sure you can articulate things, you know your niche, offer, and copy. But this is the very first application. The next is a webinar, the old faithful, the classic webinar. Do webinars still work? Yes, we have clients still getting phenomenal results when it comes to webinars. Now, this is about having people on there. They spend 60 to 90 minutes with you. You educate them, educate why you are good at what you do and how you can help them. You add value to them, overcome any of their limiting beliefs, and then obviously you offer a product or program or a call with you, whatever it might be. Now, one asterisk I'll put on all of these, I always just like to get people's phone. If I'm going for lead generation, I will get a phone number on the first step every time. Purely because my team want leads. They want to converse with people. They want to speak to people. They want to be followed up with. Our team want to follow up with them. So I always get them on the first step. And then I will still give people obviously the option to book a call or the product or program. We have clients still to this day getting results with webinars. So if anyone's like, oh, webinars don't work or anything like that, I would argue against that heavily because we have clients that still do phenomenal with them. It just depends on your niche. Obviously, the offer and copy that you're putting out there, but do they work? Short answer, heck yeah, they do. Now, the third is the mini-me, right? The mini webinar, or the micro VSL, we like to call it. You can call it the mini-me. This is a short, specific webinar/VSL that really articulates exactly what it is you do and how you can help them, right? And there's 2 versions of this. One where you can have actually the video on the first page before they then go to an application to work with you, or you can have it on the thank you page after they opt in. So as I mentioned with the application, this is the funnel that I would test with cold traffic too. We have tested it with cold traffic, works an absolute treat, can work very, very well and super effectively with cold audiences. So this is an application style of funnel we're putting in a content piece in there where we're educating people. It's quite short, it can go from 2 minutes up to 10 to 15 minutes, probably not much more than that. Keeping it nice, short, succinct, sharp. That's really what we're going for. Just trying to make sure that we can articulate what we do, how we can help people, and then allowing them to apply to work with us. Generally, this would be around an offer where you have a small pool of people that you're looking for, 5 to 10, something like that. That's the ideal scenario of what we're looking for with this as an intake, for example, and then you will keep going. But they work absolutely gangbusters. Even if you're growing out more than that, you need more people than that, not a problem. That still works a treat. The next is the 2-step. This is just the best image that I could find for a 2-step. Now, this is very simply when you have an opt-in page, and then on page 2, right, you have a call to action, a opt-in. You're telling them to actually register for a call with you. You're capturing that next piece of data. So on the front end, they're getting like an ebook, a guide, a white paper, a free download of some sort, some description. On page 2, there is a video or a sales letter if you like writing, depending on what works best in your industry and for yourself. And then you're getting a booking straight from there. So I like 2 steps. They work very, very effectively to generate leads. And again, I always like to get phone numbers on every step, but to get people booking in as well. The bonus funnel on this, so there's actually 6. If you stayed and watched this, then you're winning. The bonus funnel is a group growth funnel which a lot of people are heavily talking about at the moment, growing groups, using them as leverage to really grow businesses when it comes to Facebook ads. A group growth funnel is the same as a two-step funnel. You're getting people to register, to join the group. On page 2, you send them to the group. Exactly the same process. It's a two-step funnel, right? Which people always like to take things and make them seem new, shiny, and amazing. It does work, absolutely. If you want to grow a group, it's the same style of funnel, same process, works super effectively. So as I mentioned, I just like to get your emails on every single step of the way, because I like to follow up with people. Our team like to follow up. We send SMS reminders. We invite them to other things that we do. We will call them, of course, and see how they're going and see what they're up to, see if we can help. So again, highly, highly recommended this type of funnel. All of these all work in different scenarios. Just got to choose which one works for you. Now, the last is probably the more complex of them all. And some of you are going to be like, Kim, this doesn't sound like lead generation, right? This is the SLO, the self-liquidating offer. This is where you use to cover your front-end ad spend and be able to spend even more to acquire your customers. You're like, Kim, that's sounding pretty e-commerce-y, mate. That's sounding like you're actually wanting me to go out there and sell something. I am, if you want to do this one. As I said, not necessarily does everyone have to do it. However, it does allow you to, as opposed to generating leads, and this is why this one is a little bonus as well, is to generate buyers. So this works super effectively on products like $7, $14, $27, short little information products. This can work super effectively because what you're doing is it might cost you $50 to get someone to give you $7 or $80 or $100. But if you have a few products for them to be able to purchase, a few steps for them to be able to take, what you'll find is you're actually acquiring buyers for the same price a lot of people are acquiring leads. If you can do it effectively and if you have a good cart value, which is a whole other segment, talking about your carts and the value there and your upsells and downsells and whatnot. However, for those of you that might be a bit more ahead, maybe you've got 3 or 4 of those funnels already implemented, I didn't want to leave this one out because it does work very effectively. And obviously it contributes to your front-end ad spend. It contributes to your pool of buyers. And now some people do and don't like, and there's arguments for and against, but these are the core 5 that we use every single day for our clients, and I know that they work, and they work successfully. They generate up to and exceeding 17 times return on ad spend for all of our clients, for all of the people that we teach them to, if you do them properly. Don't try and do any of them 50%. As I said, if all you did was follow the 3 steps, the 3 sections that I shared with you, which is identifying your budget, understanding your lifetime value, then taking that and verifying that process, verifying what leads you're getting, verifying your offer, verifying your NOC, your niche offer and your copy, and then taking that and applying it into one of these 5 core funnels, I can almost guarantee, I can say almost because some of you will probably hold me to it, but I can almost guarantee that you will be successful when it comes to your Facebook ads, because it's hard not to if you've done those steps, you've done them sequentially, and you've followed the instructions. Because all it comes down to at the end of the day is like, if you understand the person that you want to generate as a lead, you've just got to find the right mechanism and the right angle to get in front of them. And then it's off to the races, then it's happy days. So for me, if you followed what I've shared here today, from a lead generation perspective, you will have countless pools of leads. If you're generating them and you're running them for yourself, if you're doing it as an agency for other people, if you're just scaling your own business and you're wanting to get more leads, check this process, follow this process, and I can almost guarantee you will exceed and increase your results exponentially. I definitely know that if you did this properly and you understand it, number 1, if you can spend more on your ads and you calculate that, that's going to allow you to beat your competition. Number 2, if you spend more time verifying and testing your offers and process, 100%, without having to build all that crazy workout and just doing lead generation ads, because they are people that are considering what it is that you do, you will have way stronger angles going into building out your funnels. And that's why I wanted to share with you today our process that we use, that we test every single time we do lead generation. I'm about to go and jump on and do some of these more so myself later on today. I highly, 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 highly recommend it for you guys. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining me here at AdWell. Thank you so much to AdWell for having me here. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited to be able to share some of the structures and strategies that we use in our business and we teach people. I'm Kim from Your Social Voice, Kim Barrett. If If you want to follow us online on Instagram, @RealKimBarrett is me personally. You can find me over there. I'm always there. I'm always chatting. So please even just feel free to shoot me a message and let me know how you found it. /RealKimBarrett on Facebook, @YourSocialVoiceAUS is our business on Instagram. And of course, the Kim Barrett Show I mentioned earlier, where every week I do bring in people that are the best in their field and unpack what it is that made them successful and really pull that apart to see how I can help other businesses emulate and achieve success of similar levels. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it. I hope you all got some amazing value out of this. Please, if my last word and my last wish is if you did go and implement it, go and make some magic happen, generate yourself some amazing leads, and I'll see you next time.
Wow, day 2 was an absolute explosion of amazing content. I truly loved it. But now, let's get ready for day 3. We're not done yet. Tomorrow, we're gonna have another absolutely stunning lineup. We're gonna have Sir Martin Sorrell, Lania Zambrano, Ollie Gardner, and so many more. Be sure to be back tomorrow. We're gonna finish strong and I can't wait to have you back for another amazing day. I'll see you tomorrow at AdWorld.